Welcome to Mythos History. I am your narrator. We often think about love. We write songs about it, write stories about it, movies, we even have gods over that emotion. But what if love was the key to something far more destructive? What my researchers found today was a journal entry by someone that has a very different perspective on love. Love is the most destructive force in the universe. I know. I've seen it firsthand. Well, the origin of the destruction anyway. I am making this in an effort to record what has happened and why we are all going to die. Well, you are going to die. My name is Devin Benjamin, Dr. Benjamin as a matter of fact. Not that it matters now. Nothing matters. Pardon my rambling. I was an assistant to a Nobel Prize-winning scientist called Dr. Parcell. He won the award for his work in the electromagnetic field. I had just graduated from MIT with high honors. I was contacted by email by Dr. Pascal himself after graduation. He wrote that he was very impressed with my work and had his eye on me for a couple years. He was pleased I focused on a similar field as him, but had an overall handle on other disciplines. He said I was the perfect candidate for his upcoming project. I was thrilled. Instead of scrapping and fighting my way to the top, I was going to work hand in hand with one of the preeminent scientists in the world. I couldn't believe my good fortune. I went a week later to the Southwest for my formal interview. At the airport, I was greeted by a man with a suit and a sign with my name on it. I was taken to the deep desert. Among the sand and brush was a large new building. I was escorted into the large but modest lobby. Much to my surprise, Dr. Pascal greeted me himself. "I'm thrilled you made it," he said to me. "Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Pascal," I returned. We made small talk as we walked across the large lobby. He swiped a card over a panel by the door. It opened, and Dr. Pascal looked at me. "Please, you first." I nodded and walked in. The building was spectacular. Dr. Pascal showed me the living quarters first. There was many, many rooms. All of them like the lobby, nice but modest. Dr. Pascal introduced me to a blonde girl named Samantha. "Dr. Benjamin, this is Samantha. She will be our assistant. No task is too big or too small for her to handle." "Hello," Samantha said, as she extended her hand. I shook it. "Hello." We exchanged pleasantries as Dr. Pascal looked on smiling. Minutes later, we were walking again. Dr. Pascal told me during the project's lifespan, all workers would live and work here in the building. Me being single helped me get chosen for this job. In fact, all here were single. The doctor told me he didn't mind if we became romantic while here. He told me he knew he couldn't control human needs. He then showed me the work area. It quite simply blew my mind. There was machines there. I didn't know what they were or what they did. This was beyond bleeding edge technology. Lastly, he showed me two large rooms across the building from each other. Each looked similar. A clear chamber surrounded by a bank of computers, except for the middle of the bank of computers, that was open. After the tour, Dr. Pascal looked at me. "Well, will you walk with me into the unknown of what mankind can do?" "Yes." "One thing, however, what is this project?" "That is on a need-to-know basis." "Okay," I said slowly. "When do I start, sir?" "Now, I need some calculations to be approved. But my things, I don't have any clothes." "Samantha will get any and all that you need." "Samantha!" Samantha walked into the room. Had she followed us the whole time, I wondered? "Samantha, please get Dr. Benjamin whatever he needs." Dr. Pascal turned to me then. I'm thrilled you have accepted. Welcome. And with that, he left. Now Samantha stood in front of me. So what do you need? I settled in relatively easy. Samantha got me some clothes in my size and what I wanted. The calculations I worked on were some of the most advanced I've ever seen. I struggled greatly working on them. When I got done, I handed my solutions to Dr. Pascal. He looked them over and slightly smiled. Very good. These match my results. This is very good work. Now what? I asked. Take a couple days. Walk around and get more familiar with the layout of the place. People are going to start coming in soon, and I need you to be able to go to any section efficiently. I did as the doctor said. I walked around and got more familiar with the place. I even walked around the building to get some sun. I wanted for nothing. I had a TV and was able to watch any show or movie, even movies that were still in theaters. Over the next few days, people started coming to the building. Either me or Samantha showed them their quarters and workstations. Only I got the personal tour by Dr. Pascal. When everyone showed up, Dr. Pascal called a meeting in the lobby. He addressed everyone with a smile. I want to thank all of you personally. All of you were chosen because you're the youngest and brightest in your fields. Together we will conquer our space and draw closer to God. It won't be easy, mind you. We will need a touch of luck, but I truly feel we will do what mankind can only dream of. Thank you. The crowd clapped and cheered. Dr. Pascal waved and got into the elevator and ascended to his private quarters. Things got into a rhythm after that. I would get the itinerary for the day and go to each department and oversee how things were going. At the end of the day, I would report back to Dr. Pascal personally. One day, a couple months into the project, I went up to Dr. Pascal's quarters for the end of the day debriefing, and the doctor was leaning over his desk, clearly drunk. Doctor? I asked. Dr. Pascal lifted his head. Dr. Benjamin, is everything still on track? Yes, doctor. One thing, however. What is it? He asked. What is this project? There is some confusion among everyone. As you said, everyone here is the top in their field, but no one knows what the instruments and machines are really for. It really doesn't make any sense to them. Dr. Pascal leaned back. I see. I've always known this would be an issue. I ask that everyone do as I ask. I know it does seem confusing, but I see the big picture. I know where this path will lead to, hopefully. Which is where, sir? Godhood. Nothing short of that. Imagine, Dr. Benjamin. What if a man cannot just survive the void of space, but thrive in it? To be a true child of the cosmos. What if we had the ability to move across the expanse faster than light? To be able to see things we've only been able to dream of. To use quantum entanglement in a practical way of travel. You want to hear something funny? My calculations say that the key to all this is love. The chemical reactions we have while we are in true love is the linchpin to our ascension. That thought gives me some comfort. I like the idea of us becoming something malevolent is impossible. If this is successful, we will become what we always wanted to be. The weight of this responsibility is crushing, Doctor. What if I fail? I will be destroyed. All the reputations here will be destroyed. Doing this is an awesome responsibility. How are you going to try to get this godhood, I asked. In good time, Dr. Benjamin, in good time. If this project proves successful, all of you will know and will be celebrated. Good night, Dr. Benjamin. Good night, Doctor, I said. Just before I made it to the door, Dr. Pascal called out to me. Doctor? Yes? Please keep what I said to yourself. I trust I have your discretion. Absolutely, Doctor. I left just as confused as before. A couple weeks later, I was eating lunch in the commons area when the engineers walked up to me. Well, 3 of them anyway. "May we sit down, Dr. Benjamin?" asked Dr. Smith. "Sure," I answered. Dr. Looper and Dr. Geth also sat down. "How are things in engineering?" I asked. "That's what we wanted to talk to you about," Dr. Looper said. "What's wrong?" I asked. "What is our purpose?" Dr. Geth responded. "To do your best," I answered. "That's not what we want to know," Dr. Smith said. "What is it that you want to know?" I asked. "What is this project?" "We built machines and instruments that don't seem to do nothing. It's like we are building a house with staircases that go nowhere." "I see. Not to be rude, but yours is not to question why. We are working with one of the brightest minds of the last couple centuries. We really don't need you to know everything that's going on. This project will help you write your own ticket for the rest of your lives. Have faith in Dr. Pascal." "What about this godhood nonsense?" asked Dr. Geth. "Every scientific advancement brings us closer to God. This will be no different." The engineers scowled, but they went along with my statements. They got up and left. Our trouble, however, didn't end there. A week after that, Dr. Hansen approached me. "Can I talk to you?" she asked. "Sure. What do you need?" "Why does Dr. Pascal need volunteers?" "Not to sound simple, but he needs them. But why do they have to be in love?" "I honestly don't know. Why do you ask?" "This is curious. I've never heard of a project this big only need 2 volunteers, much less a couple truly in love. I mean, don't get me wrong, the algorithm is beyond anything being used. It could revolutionize dating apps for years, if not decades. But why all this work to find people truly in love?" "I don't know why the doctor needs them. I would assume he needs them for his hypothesis. Why they need to be in love? I have no answers for you. If you want to spin off a company to use the algorithm, make a proposal. Us scientists always need a new income to do our research." Dr. Hansen thought about this for a moment. "I might just do that." "Let me know if you need any more help." "I will. Thank you. If you excuse me, the couple is supposed to be here in a couple hours." I smiled, and we parted ways. A couple days later, Dr. Pascal called me to his quarters. When I entered, I saw a couple with Dr. Pascal. The man was tall with brown hair. The woman was of average height and of Asian descent. "Ah, doctor, you made it. Allow me to introduce Kyle and Amy. They are the focus of this whole project." "Hello," I said, holding out my hand. The 3 of us shook hands and Dr. Pascal started talking again. "The project will go live in a couple days after the final checks are done." "Understood, sir," I said. "I should get at it then." The 3 of them told me goodbye, and I left. The final checks were a nightmare, because nothing made sense to the engineers or scientists. We only had Dr. Pascal's guidelines. But finally it was done. Barely in time. In the middle of the building, I waited with Dr. Pascal. Finally, Kyle and Amy showed up dressed in bodysuits. "A little tight," Kyle joked. Dr. Pascal smiled. "Are you ready?" "Yes," they both answered. "Take this moment to say goodbye. It won't be long before you see each other, however." Kyle and Amy smiled and kissed each other lightly on the lips. I could see it in their eyes. They were truly, madly in love. 2 other scientists escorted Kyle away. Amy walked with me and Dr. Pascal. We walked to one of the identical rooms. The doctor and I led Amy into the circular, clear chamber. The rest of us then took our positions at the computer banks. Dr. Pascal stood behind me. "Intercom, please," he said to me. I turned it on, and Dr. Pascal cleared his throat and then spoke. "This is a momentous moment in mankind's history. I want to thank you for all your hard work. Let us begin. Dr. Benjamin will start the proceedings. Doctor, he said, looking down on me. Yes, doctor, I said as I started to type and turn on the rest of the computers. They all came on with a whine, and I imagined the same thing was going on in the other chamber room. Dr. Pascal stepped to the side of me. He seemed pleased. Start phase 1, please. I typed in the command, and a small tube stretched out between the computer banks and was aiming at Amy, who, to her credit, seemed non-concerned. Phase 2, the creation of the entangled particles. What? That's crazy, I thought. I never knew what phase 2 was really. But I typed in the next command, and there was a rumbling from deep below the building. I looked at the instrument that measured phase 2. When it hit 100%, I was to hit a certain button. Percentage, Dr. Benjamin, Dr. Pascal asked. 78%, I answered. Dr. Pascal nodded. After a couple more minutes, he asked again, and I answered 93%. Good, Dr. Benjamin. Get ready. Count at every percentage from here on out. I did as I was told. 95%. 97%. 98%. My hand hovered above the button. 100%. I pressed the button as Dr. Pascal yelled, "Fire!" Things changed after that. Amy looked like she got shot. I saw nothing, of course. A particle is too small for the naked eye. And the humming sound took a weird turn. The world around me changed too. It looked like an infinite amount of worlds were overlapping this one. Most, if not all the people in the room, were represented in each world. Each world was sometimes different a little bit, and sometimes it was different by a lot. Some looked futuristic, some looked like it was old and this was happening in the 50s or 40s. Sometimes we looked alien, different skin colors or having tails. There was one world where we looked like Nazis. Cliched, I know, but it was there. Beside me, Dr. Pascal yelled in triumph, "We've done it!" The worlds echoed with the infinite Dr. Pascal's yelling the same thing, in our language or in another one. I looked down and saw versions of me overlapping my reality. Elevations were different, but they were all me. Over the intercom, I heard a scientist in the other chamber room. "Something is happening. Kyle was moving." Then suddenly, he was cut off. I looked up and saw Amy and her overlappers. They all lifted a few inches in the air and moved through the chamber walls. There was a flash of light and Kyle appeared as he came through the wall. I watched as they floated towards each other. They embraced and kissed. To my horror, I watched them merge. The two masses of Kyle and Amy started to move as they intertwined and as they kissed. Hands merged into the head of the other one, etc., etc. When they broke the kiss, they smiled. I think they smiled. It was hard to tell. When the kiss stopped, they vanished in a bright light. It was then when I felt something like an explosion. I can't tell you how long I was unconscious, but when I woke up, I was in a pit. The building destroyed and the desert sun shining on me. The building wasn't just destroyed. It was gone. In the distance, I could hear helicopters coming closer. I got up and had the feeling I should run. I can't describe it. It was just an overpowering pull away from there. I started to run. My muscles got sore, but I kept going. I found a broken pipe big enough for me to crawl in. It looked like the building was cut away from me. Not clean, but in a jagged fashion. I crawled down the pipe. Somehow I just knew an exit was up ahead. To this day, I can't tell you why. I just knew. Sure enough, I found the exit. Apparently, this pipe was for ventilation. I crawled out, and in the distance, I could see little dots land where the crater was. It was days before I made it back to civilization, sunburnt and parched. Quickly, I found a place, a small warehouse in the desert. Back when I was offered the job, I insisted I get paid by cryptocurrency. Still to this day, I don't know why. Perhaps taking part of another new technology excited me. I bought the small warehouse off the books. It didn't even put a dent in my account. Dr. Pascal, in all fairness, paid very, very well. During this time, I started to feel nauseous and ill. As I laid on my cot, I would watch the news. That's why I heard the bullshit excuses the government gave. I also saw my name among the list of the dead. Still, to this day, no one knows what Dr. Pascal was working on. In front of the government hearings, he gave a song and dance, but didn't do what he promised. There was no way he would have been given billions for what he was really doing. I spent my days working on a machine to measure time. All of time. The time of the universe. Dr. Pascal told me the basics as we shared a whiskey after one of my daily reports to him. I am experiencing a horror man has only dreamed of. Lately, I've been having flashes of the other worlds I saw. I woke up one day and my vision had changed and something was in my mouth. I looked in the mirror and saw an eyeball was in my cheek. A couple weeks later, I woke up nauseous and my arm hurt. When I opened my eyes and looked, there was a mouth on my stomach, and overnight, it had been chewing on my arm. My stomach was full of my own blood. But that's not all. More parts have showed up on my body. All the parts are mine. Well, parts of the other me's. I think the experiment destroyed the other worlds or something like that. Or perhaps all the worlds merged at some level at the singularity, the building. I just don't know. I don't know what happened to everyone in the building. I don't know if they are in bits and pieces merged into another them, or just destroyed in a blink of an eye. I think of Dr. Pascal often. I don't think he himself knew exactly what he was doing. I think he was part of an infinite puzzle. Each version of him unconsciously played their part of the larger puzzle, which makes sense to me. I remember as we were running the experiment, where we were dealing with electromagnetism, I heard other things being shouted out from the infinite worlds, like magnesium, which didn't make sense to me, and dark matter, which kind of made sense to me. Zinc, any type of chemical or mineral you could think of, or energy, they were all shouted out. So on some level, this makes perfect sense that my Dr. Pascal only knew about his part. But how could all the versions of him have a different part of a larger plan? I'm certain he didn't know the scale of what he was doing or taking part in. He just had a driven obsession to do his part. I doubt he knew he was even playing a part. He certainly didn't let on as if he did. As for Kyle and Amy, I don't know. I just don't know. If Dr. Pascal was right, they are flying in the cosmos and seeing things mankind never will. Propelled by quantum entanglement, somewhat slingshotting past each other. If the doctor was right, they are gods. Lastly, you remember the machine I told you? The one I made to measure time? Based on my own observations, it tells me the most horrific thing at all. Universal time is slowing down. And its slowing down is speeding up. What that means, I don't know. What will happen if all time stops? I don't know. What if it starts going backwards? I don't know if it will or what will happen. The experiment has messed up time in each universe, I assume. But what if it's just our universe? I just don't know. Like everyone else, I never knew of what most of the machines did, so finding out the whole of the damage done is just outside of my grasp. Things are getting worse, however. I woke up today with an ear growing out of my shoulder blade. Like my eyesight, this extra appendage has affected my hearing, like it affected my vision. The other parts of me are showing up faster now. I don't know how much of me will be me. Each part that appears brings memories of other worlds. Will I eventually become something out of a Lovecraft story? I don't know. All I know is that the love of Kyle and Amy was the centerpiece of all this. Love will destroy us all. March 16th, 1992, Dr. Benjamin. So the next time you're listening to a love song with your companion, keep that in mind. Don't let love consume you like it consumed that universe.